Flora
Ulysses
by
DiCamillo.
Dun, dun, dun. Where were we? Chapter 49. Good news, Florabelle. Who calls Flora Florabelle? Her mom? And William Spiver. Flora's mother and father entered the kitchen together. Her mother had a cigarette in her mouth.
Ew! No, you don't do that.
I can't even hold it. I don't even know how they do that. There we go.
No, they hit with 2 fingers.
How do I look?
No, do it like this. You look terrible.
Thank you, because it's a nasty habit that people got hooked on before they knew it was so addicting.
My mom did.
I don't want to hear stories about people who didn't mean to get addicted to a habit that isn't. Anyhow, her mother was smoking! Exclamation point. Her father had his arm around her mother's shoulder. This was almost as alarming as seeing her mother smoke. Her mother and father never touched anymore. Good news, Florabelle, said her father. Really? Said Flora. She never believed it when someone said there was good news. In her experience, when there was good news, people just said the good news, what the good news was. If there was bad news, they warned. And they wanted you to believe that there was good news, and then they would say good news. And if there was really bad news, they'd say, good news, Florabelle. Are you guys following? I'm a little confused. Your mother thinks that it would be wonderful to have the squirrel stay here, said her father. What? That doesn't even sound right. I think somebody's not telling the truth. Here, with your mother. You, your mother, and the squirrel. That's what your mother would like. Laura looked at her mother. Mom? I would be honored, said her mother, and she took a long of her cigarette. Her hand was trembling. I know they're smoking in this book. It's giving me the coughs. Why are you smoking? Said Flora. I thought you stopped smoking. Okay, so now we're getting some information. She used to smoke, and now something happened that's making her pick up that bad habit of smoking. It seemed like the wrong time to stop, said her mother, and she squinted. I'm under a lot of pressure right now. Speaking of which, I see the squirrel is typing on my typewriter where I write. He writes poetry, said William Spiver, not fiction. Let's just have a looky-see, said Flora's mother. She walked over to the typewriter and stood looking down at Ulysses at the words on the page. Let's see what kind of poetry the squirrel types. Her voice sounded funny and far away, tiny, as if she were speaking from the bottom of a dark well. Actually, what sounded like a robot, someone pretending to be a human, was doing just a lousy job of it. So what she's saying is, it doesn't sound like her mother. Something's wrong with her mother. Flora felt a little flicker of fear. Let me just light another cigarette here, said her mother in her robot voice. She lit the new cigarette from the top tip of the old one, which was, of course, called chain smoking, and it was very dangerous behavior. And this obviously was not a good time. Her mother inhaled deeply on the cigarette and she exhaled. Shall I read the squirrel poetry out loud? She said. An incomplete list. Actually, it wasn't poetry, not yet. So far, it was just a list of words that he wanted to turn into a poem. The first word on the list was jelly. I am liking this poem. Jelly was followed by giant donut, which in turn followed by sprinkle. The list continued in words. Rita, sunny side up, Pascal, giant squid, little shepherdess, vanquished. Quark, universe, expanding, Blunder Meakin, banished. So the squirrel is typing all of these really important words that are somehow connected. And here is Mother, smoking with her hair in a scarfy thing, reading the squirrel's poetry. Can you picture your mother doing this?
No.
No.
Totally not. Yes. Yeah, but not my stepmother. My mother never smoked. She's like this.
Yes.
Wait, your mother smokes?
It's a habit that people started before they realized that it was a dangerous thing. So it's a hard habit to cut. So the list ended with the words of Dr. Meacham's goodbye. I promise to always turn back towards you. The words were good. Ulysses felt maybe even great words. But the list was very incomplete. IN at the beginning of the word, like incomplete, means not. Can you sit on your bottom? Ulysses felt even the greatest of the words was an incomplete list. All of this is to say that when Flora's mother read the list out loud, it didn't sound terribly impressive. Gosh, that's some pretty swell poetry, said George Buckman. Not really, said William Spiver. There's no point in lying to him. Even if he is a squirrel, it's actually pretty lousy poetry. But I do like the last part, the part about turning back. That has some emotion left in it. All right, I think it's empty. You can put it down now. We are going to be one. This is just great, said Flora's mother, and I'm glad to welcome another writer into the family. She patted Ulysses on the head, too forcefully, but she did pat. Do you need help with that?
No.
We are going to be one happy little family, said Flora's mother, and she gave Ulysses another whack, disguised as a pat. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is going on here? Really? Said Flora. Oh, yes, said Flora's mother, and there was a knock at the door. Yoo-hoo! Someone called out. Tootie, guessed Flora. Tootie, thought Ulysses. Miss Tickman, said Flora's mother, do come in. We were just reading some words that the squirrel typed. We were just reading some squirrel poetry. William, I've been calling you, and I didn't hear you, said William. Well, I must admit, I wasn't calling very loudly, said Tootie. What did Ulysses type? I think Tootie was just looking for an excuse to come on over. Flora's mother read the list of words again. Tootie put her hands over her heart. Oh, those last lines are beautiful. They're heartbreaking. Those last lines are the only bit of coherence in the whole thing, said William Spiver. I've been inspired by Ulysses to write a little poetry of myself, said Tootie. Ulysses felt himself puff up. He had inspired Tootie. He turned and he sniffed his tail. Put the scissors away. I'd like to read your poetry, Tootie, said Flora. Well, we should have a poetry reading at some point. I'm sure Ulysses would enjoy that. The squirrel nodded. Yes, he would enjoy that. We would also enjoy a bite to eat. He would also enjoy a bite to eat. Dr. Meacham's jelly sandwich had been wonderful, but that was so long ago. He would like to eat, and he would like it for Tootie to read poetry to him, and he would like for him to be able to work on his own poem. Also, he would like for Flora's mother to quit pounding him on the head, which she was doing right now. William, your mother called for you, said Tootie. She did? Said William. His voice was squeaky with hope. Really? Did she ask for me to come home? Unfortunately not, said Tootie. But it's dinner time. Come home with me and eat something. Home, thought Ulysses. That's a good word. And dinner is a good word, too. I wonder if he'll put those in his next poem. He turned back to the typewriter and he searched for the letter H. I think it probably takes him a long time to write on a typewriter if he doesn't know where all the letters are. Dun, dun, dun. So let's recap. The mom is going to keep the squirrel at her house. I wonder what they talk about. But she's not patting it gently. She's like whacking it. Like unkindly, I'd say. And the squirrel is typing words. And if we go back over those words, the words that the squirrel typed, let me go find them. Rita, sunny side up, Pascal, giant squid, little shepherdess. They're all words that have just happened. Things in his life that he wants to remember. Who thinks the squirrel is going to be safe with mother? Oof, you've got faith. Who thinks in the mother? She's like not really, she's changed. Who thinks the squirrel's going to be in danger with the mother? I think she's going to be I think the squirrel, he is going to be in danger. I don't think the mom really wants the squirrel. Because what changed? What happened in the kitchen that changed? That she would want him. Because he is just a dirty little rodent. Poetry writing one, though.